Hello, students. Welcome to a podcast about transitions. Now, transitions are the way that you are going to lead your reader through your forest of logic so that they are never lost. Let's get started. So, what are transitions? Transitions really are words, phrases, or sentences that actually move your essay from one idea to the next. Why are they important? Because, for one, they improve the sophistication of your writing and they show a level of control over the piece. Secondly, transitions are kind of like road signs for your reader. In other words, they help the reader to understand where you are going with your ideas. And they help the reader to understand how each new idea relates to the ideas that came before it. Specifically, things like adding new information, or are you comparing or contrasting ideas? Are you providing examples? Are you connecting evidence to your thesis? So transitions help your reader to see how the new information relates to the information that came before it. All right, so that's what transitions are. And now you might want to ask yourself, okay, well, where do I add those transitions? And there's actually two different ways to do it. The first place you'll want to add transitions is as you're transitioning from one paragraph to the next. The transition into the new paragraph usually takes place in the topic sentence of the new paragraph. And the second place where you'll add transitions is from one sentence to the next to glue your ideas together inside of a body paragraph. All right, let's take a look at each. For transitions between paragraphs, the first thing you need to take care of is thinking about how each paragraph is going to contribute to your thesis idea. And once you have a clear idea of how each paragraph is going to support your thesis, then you're going to find words that illuminate that purpose for your reader, that help your reader to see what you're going to do in each paragraph and how that connects to the paragraphs before it, and ultimately how those all work together to prove your thesis. So let's look at an example of a paragraph. If I was going to write an essay about snowboarding, I might craft a thesis that looks like this. If people understand the history of how snowboarding began, they can gain a deeper appreciation for the sport and can even improve their own skills on a snowboard. Okay, if that's what I'm going to write an essay about, then it seems to me I've got a couple of things that my body paragraphs need to do. First, I need a body paragraph that provides a history of how snowboarding began. Second, I need to explain how the movements of skateboarding and surfing mirror the movements of snowboarding. That's the part about gaining a deeper appreciation for the sport. And then finally, I need to explain how knowledge of those movements actually can translate into exercises that snowboarders can do that will improve their writing. So here's what I end up with. Here are my transitions into each body paragraph. So if I've just written my thesis statement, then body paragraph 1, the topic sentence might look like this. In order for writers to improve their skills, they must first understand a bit about how snowboarding began. Okay, so this, the transition is in order for writers to improve their skills. That's reminding the reader what your thesis is going to be about. And then the topic sentence is forecasting what that paragraph is going to be about. They need to understand how snowboarding began. So that body paragraph is basically going to talk about how snowboarding began. But the transitions have helped your reader to remember that the reason they're learning about the history is that ultimately that's going to help them to improve their skills. All right, so let's say you write that body paragraph. You talk all about the history of the sport. Then in body paragraph 2, your topic sentence is going to say this. Having gained an awareness of the inception of the sport, that's your transition, that's reminding your reader what they just read in body paragraph 1. And now the second half of the topic sentence is telling them what this new body paragraph is going to be about. And it says, the reader can now turn attention to the similarities of movement between the three sports. Okay, so body paragraph 2 is going to talk about the similarities of movement between surfing, skateboarding, and snowboarding. And so body paragraph 2 would take care of explaining those similarities. Then we have body paragraph 3. The connector or the transition is the first part of your sentence. With the aforementioned understanding of the connections between skateboarding, surfing, and snowboarding, that was my transition. Now I'm going to talk about what body paragraph 3 will discuss. The reader may now apply some exercises to their own snowboarding in order to improve their writing. Okay, so that's how those paragraph transitions work to serve as road signs to help your reader understand the purpose of each body paragraph and how each body paragraph ultimately supports your thesis statement. Now, once we've done transitions between paragraphs, we also need to transition between sentences within paragraphs. Let's talk about that. First, you need to understand the relationship between two sentences that are sitting right next to each other. Are those two sentences adding information, providing evidence, beginning or continuing some analysis? Are they creating a contrast or a shift in thinking? Are they connecting analysis to your thesis? Once you understand the relationship between two sentences, you then want to choose a word or a phrase that helps to illuminate or highlight that relationship. And that, again, is how you are supporting the reader. You are forecasting or providing a road sign to help the reader to know how you're moving from one idea to the next. So let's take a look. If we went back to the snowboarding essay, then my body paragraph 1, remember, here's my topic sentence. In order for writers to improve their skills, they must first understand a bit about how snowboarding began. Fine. So the bullet points here on this slide are basically the things I would want to add into my paragraph. And let me show you on the next slide how that actually all comes together. So you can see I have 6 bullet points of information. Once I have what I'm going to write, I'm going to determine the relationship between each of those pieces, and I'm going to find appropriate transition words that glue those ideas together. Let's take a look at how it ends up. In order for writers to improve their skills, they must first understand a bit about how snowboarding began. Interestingly, snowboarding, at least conceptually, has existed for almost 100 years. That said, the first modern snowboard was designed in 1965 by a man who tied two skis together for his daughter. Since that time, snowboarding has been influenced by both skateboarding and surfing. In fact, skateboarders and surfers alike have contributed to the design, marketing, and sales of snowboards. Although snowboarding's roots are found in these other sports, it has ultimately evolved into its own unique sport. As a matter of fact, it has grown so popular across the world that several Olympic events are now dedicated to the art and sport of snowboarding. And now if you go back, you can see the pop-ups that help you understand how I chose the transition words that glue each sentence to the next. So in conclusion, just remember that readers need road signs to help them understand how you are presenting your information as a writer to help prove whatever argument you are presenting. Transitions help to signal readers about the direction of your ideas, which ensures that they are going to see your point. And finally, if you include effective transitions, please understand your paper will actually shine. It will improve the sophistication and control of your piece. And so with that, I send you out into the world stronger, more capable writers. Happy writing.